I'm going to discuss the Bobby Dassey theory um, and why I think that it's bogus. Um, okay, according to the reenactment video, Bobby is in his uh, house and he sees Teresa come up and he does whatever he needs to do, and then he's watching for Teresa to leave. Then he jumps in his blazer as soon as she takes off and pretty much chases her down the road for, I don't know, maybe a mile or two, it seems, and gets her to pull over to the side of the road, and then gets her to go to the cul-de-sac without, Teresa. I don't see Teresa being a 25-year-old female pulling off the road to a vehicle that she doesn't know, especially if there's two men in it that she more than likely doesn't know. And I don't see her going to a dead-end road with two guys that she doesn't know. Maybe I could see her maybe taking the picture there on the side of the road, or maybe going to a gas station or somewhere that's populated to take the picture. But I don't see her just going off somewhere that's secluded to do this. And you have the Yonda burn barrel that that contained bones, which, from what I've read and understood, the bones that were discovered in the burn barrel were bigger than the bones that was in the fire pit, or in Stephen's burn pit. Um, so my question is, you hear a lot of people say, why would Stephen keep the vehicle on the property? Why would, is he that stupid to not either crush it or take it somewhere off the property? Well, if you're going to question that, then why would Bobby Dassey and whoever the accomplice of your choice is, Stephen or Scott Todick or Michael Osmondson, whoever it was that you choose that was with Bobby, why would they either transport the bones in that burn barrel, or some people think that her body was burned in the burn barrel? Why would they take that same burn barrel, bring it back to Stephen's burn pit, empty the bones out of the barrel, then place it back on behind Bobby's house, without checking to make absolutely sure that there was nothing left in it? I mean, if it was me, I wouldn't even bring the burn barrel back. I would roll it over a hill somewhere. I mean, it's a lot easier to get rid of a burn barrel than it is a vehicle. Doesn't make any sense. One of the main things that doesn't make any sense to me is supposedly how they got Stephen's blood from his sink with a with a dropper or whatever they used. It's hard for me to talk about it without laughing, because it's just so I don't know, it's just so far-fetched that, I mean, I just don't see it happening that way at all. And they were talking about the dried blood flakes in the vehicle. Why would they have scraped the blood off of the sink or whatever? And by the way, Stephen never mentions this to the police in any of his interviews about the whole thing with his finger bleeding and him leaving and coming back and the blood was gone from the sink. And my thing is, okay, I've cut my finger before and it's bled, and I've actually went to the bathroom sink, but I always turn the water on to rinse the blood off my finger. So there's not really much or any blood left in the sink. I mean, why would he go to the sink and let his finger just bleed in the sink without rinsing it off? It doesn't make any sense at all. Which I think he's desperate and trying to come up with any kind of false information that that he can muster up in his mind. I mean, I don't think anybody can look at this theory the way that it was portrayed and not find it at least a little bit far-fetched. and somewhat, just unbelievable. The main My problem with the whole thing isn't Stephen. To me, it's Brandon. I can't really decide whether he was actually involved with the actual murder and rape and all that, or if he was just there, saw something, and I'm not really for sure on that. He has, in some of his interviews or his interrogations rather, he does come forth with some stuff that is not, it's on his own. Like, for an example, I think it was his is it May the 13th, after he's already been arrested, and he comes back, and Wiegert and Fassbender interview him again. He describes what route they took to take the raw forward to to where it was found, and Fassbender was saying, "Did you take it this way? Along the outside where they followed the road that ran along, I guess, between the salvage yard and the quarry." And Brendan says no, and he actually shows him the way that they took it. Another an example is, which sort of struck me odd, was when, I can't remember if it's Wiegert or Fassbender, asked Brendan what size that Teresa's breasts were, and they say, were they large or small? And Brendan says medium sized. So that's not leading. That's him saying, him thinking and saying they were medium sized. I mean, in his mind, if he made it up, he had an idea of what size her breast was anyway. I mean, even if he had never, supposedly ever saw her before that day. So I mean, that's, just some stuff that I've not really came to a conclusion on how I think Brendan was involved. He was definitely there that night, but I'm just not 100% on his involvement. So feel free to leave a comment, dislike, whatever, but and I will talk to everybody later.